on the road again. Something about being on the fucking road again. We're on the road again. I have been dashing all week. Bro, I gotta make like $1,000, dude, by the first of the month. Well, now I gotta make 900. And I got, what do I got? 10 more days to do it. Yeah. So, 10, 11, I don't even know what the fucking date is today. 10 or 11 days to do it. I can do it. It's doable. So long as I have like 1 or 2 days where I make like 150, maybe 200. If I can do that, I'll get way ahead. But yeah, it's a little stressful. It's a lot of money I gotta make. I mean, DoorDash isn't exactly the best for making money like to that amount, but fucking whatever. I gotta do what I gotta do. And the reason for that is because for the first 4 months of this year, all right, all the way up until the end of April, beginning of May. My wife wasn't making enough money at her other job. The new salon she was working at for a little while. She wasn't making enough money there to pay for anything. So she wasn't even able to cover her rent each month. She was having to borrow from her parents. So they were having to cover like, portions of her rent here and there, whatever. And then I was having to pick up the slack with everything else. All the groceries that were bought by me, everything that had to be bought for my daughter, all the diapers, all of her food, everything, dude. And anytime my wife did go and buy those things, it was just pointless because it would just set her back even more. And then I would, later on have to cover for even more stuff. Or on occasion she would go out and do some DoorDash orders to try to make up for it. But, she was never making more than like $50. You know what I mean? It wasn't like she was going out like I am right now. So for like 4 straight months, I had to pick up the slack a lot in every which way. I had to pay, I don't know, like $500 or $600 to this like outstanding electric bill that we had, and I had to pay that on my own. No help from her, right? And I've actually been the only one who's been paying the electric bill for like a year and a half now, over that, closer to 2 years. So, and that's annoying, but that's a conversation for another day. But anyway, so I had all this money saved for summer. I had like $1,000 from my tax return, and then I had a bunch of money that I saved, as just like residuals from paychecks. So I had enough money to get me through the summer if I stayed on a budget. I would have been able to spend, it was like $80 a week, every week for the whole summer. And that was totally doable, right? And even if I like said, fuck that, I want to spend $100 a week, I still would have been able to get very close to the end of summer before I would have to start doing DoorDash. Well, unfortunately, because towards the end of the school year, it was like, the last 6 or 7 weeks, I want to say, things were really, really tight. My wife was seriously set back. I had to dip into all those savings and spend all those savings on every meal, every grocery run, every, baby needs run, every bill, every fucking penny. All gone. Had to spend all of it. Oh my God, man. I can't even tell you how fucking painful that is. And it's like, of course I'm going to do it, right? Like, I'm not just going to, like, what am I going to do? What, we're going to go without, you know what I mean? And it's like, no matter how much I try to explain to my wife that I'm carrying a lot of fucking weight here, man. I'm carrying a lot of fucking weight. And no matter how much, it just feels like it's not being understood. It feels like it's not being understood and it's not being appreciated. There's just, man, like, I don't even know what to say, man. Like, it's heavy. The weight I have to carry in my life is very heavy. And on top of that, throughout the school year, I'm working full time, right? And then those, like I said, those last 4 months of the school year, I'm picking up all this slack. I'm spending all this money. And then, I work from fucking 4 to 11:30. I get home at midnight, and it's like, then I have to wake up between 7 and 8 o'clock in the morning, 7 and 8 o'clock in the morning, and I have to immediately, like, start taking care of my daughter, because that's when my wife wants to wake up with her, and bring her out to me so that I can watch her, so that my wife can nap. And then I, watch my daughter for 2.5, 3 hours, occasionally more than that, but, usually about 2.5 to 3 hours. And I have insomnia, dude, so it's like, the night before, I wasn't able to fall asleep until fucking, 3, 4 in the morning, right? So it's like, I get barely any sleep. So then after that, I'll go in for a nap. And then I'll nap for, like, I usually nap for a little bit longer than my wife, but it's understandable. I work late nights and then I wake up early mornings. I feel like that's a given. So I'll sleep for like 3.5. Actually, lately it's actually been more like 2.5 lately. But 3.5. That's like my ballpark. And then I wake up from that. I go get whatever we need. I go get the coffee. I take the trash out. I clean the litter box, the cat litter box, which gets fucking gross, but I do it anyway because she can't stomach it, right? So that becomes an exclusive job of mine, as well as usually taking the trash out like 90% of the time. I'll do all that shit. Usually in the morning I'll sweep the floor, mop it if, I have the motivation to do it. Go out, get coffee, go get all the groceries that we need, come home, take a shower, go to work. You know what I mean, dude? Like, and then the thing is with my wife, it's like so when she was working at the other place, she was working not too late, later than she has at her current salon. But, she was working till 7, 8. I think the latest she would work was 9. And she's going in. Sorry, dude. Sometimes I talk too, like, loud and it hurts my throat. But yeah, so she would go in at a reasonable hour though. So it wasn't like, it wasn't like she was doing crazy hours. But anyway, and then she would come home. She would put our daughter to sleep. And the whole, my wife taking our daughter at night and then me taking her in the morning was all a choice by my wife like a year ago, because she wanted to breastfeed her at night. She wanted to have that bonding time. And for like the first 6 months of life, that's preferred. That's like what you want to do. You want to have that bonding at night. Your child isn't drinking water yet, and they can't drink milk, like regular cow's milk. So if they wake up in the middle of the night, they might need to hydrate. They might be hungry. Like their main source of nourishment is breast milk. So in those first months, it's totally acceptable and okay to breastfeed them throughout the night if you need to. And also, during those first 6 months, they're not sleeping through the night. Usually, they're usually up every few hours. So anyway, so she was having to do that, and then it became that she would take nights and I would take mornings. But then what I said before, it was a choice. It became a choice because the pediatrician told her to stop breastfeeding throughout the night because that could create problems, right? She shouldn't be getting used to waking up to nourishment like that. If anything, when she wakes up, you could maybe give her some water or something. Start doing that, or give her some cow's milk, right? But you get into shady territory if you do that for too long, because then there's like attachment issues, and then there's like waking up too much throughout the night and crying because you're expecting that nourishment constantly, and it just creates a lot of those types of problems for you. So those problems happened, and they've been happening, and for a long time, right? Even over the winter, my wife was like, okay, I know that they say don't do this, but like I still want to do it. I'm not going to be able to get this time back, right? I want to be able to have this bonding time with our daughter, and I just can't stand the idea of allowing her to cry at night or whatever, or dealing with the process of weaning her. My wife didn't want to do it. She wanted to defy what the doctor said and just keep going longer with the breastfeedings. And so the result is that she's still waking up in the middle of the night all the time. It still takes a very long time to get her to sleep. When my wife tries to put her down back to sleep, she cries because there's an issue of detachment there. So that stress now has become self-inflicted. So the waking up in the middle of the night and her job, which is now her old salon, which she only works 3 days at, and they're all midday shifts. There's one day that's 6 hours long, it's like 9 to 3, and then a lot of the shifts are just within that time frame. There's another day that's 8 hours, and another day that's 10 hours, but that's it. It's just those 3 days. And then those two things are it. That's it. That's all. Spending nights with our daughter, which you don't even need to be doing anymore, and your job, your part-time job. Those are your two stressors versus all of the things that I just told you that I have to do. And now that work is done for the year or the summer, now I have to do DoorDash ridiculous hours every day to make ridiculous amounts of money. I'm not getting a break. I'm not on break right now. my whole savings is depleted. So now I have to do what I did last summer and run around like a fucking chicken with its head cut off, making all this money, right? My unemployment hasn't come in yet. Now I gotta fucking do all this. All my backup is gone because I was saving us from fucking not being able to pay rent or put food on the table. And it's a burden. And my wife doesn't understand how much I'm doing, right? She acts like she's so stressed about having to do these nights, right? But that's a self-inflicted thing. You haven't had to do the nights for a very long time. So now I have to wean our daughter off. So now what's going to happen at night is I am going to have to spend the entire night with our daughter while my wife goes home. We're going to do this at her parents' house. My wife's going to go home at night while I put our daughter to sleep, and I get up with our daughter in the middle of the night. And then my daughter's going to go to work, come back, and then I'm going to have to come out all day and do these fucking DoorDash orders all day making ridiculous money. Do you see how, like it's really becoming one-sided, man, and it's really stressing me the fuck out, dude. Like, she doesn't realize that, like, she's making things easy for herself, even easier for herself at every turn, and in turn making things miles more difficult for me, just adding to this burden that I have, to this weight that I'm carrying. And don't get me wrong, I love taking care of my daughter. Taking care of my daughter it doesn't stress me out at all. It's easy to me. Putting her to sleep at night and waking up with her, it's easy to me. It's a pleasure. I love doing that. I love taking care of my daughter. I could take care of my daughter morning to night and be happy about doing it. The issue I'm having is that she creates so much stress and presents as if she is so overwhelmed that it's like she's pretending like she has it so much worse when she has it miles easier than I do. And if I were to ever say this to her, she would tell me I'm mean and I'm making her feel like a bad mom and all this stuff. These are my feelings, dude. This is what's true. Like, the fact that this is the reality right now, like, and what I just explained is all 100% true. It's like, you want me to care so much about you being overwhelmed over so little, but you don't want to care about whether or not I'm overwhelmed by doing so much more. And it's fucking me up, dude. There was way more I wanted to talk about on this, but I'm at home right now, so I'm gonna I gotta cut this thing off, dude. But I'm gonna be doing a lot more of these, all right? So stay tuned, guys. Thanks for listening. Bye.